Hello, hello, and welcome back to yet another college football video. Listen, the first round of the playoffs were terrible, and I said they were terrible. The quarterfinals were amazing, and I said they were amazing, but the semifinals were just straight cinema, and now I have to talk about it. Let me say something first, though, real quick here as I share my screen. Since the inception of the Rod Meta YouTube channel, I have been consistent on two things. Penn State is the most overrated team in the country, and Drew Aller plays like me in big games. Both of those things, the years of hate came to fruition last night because even though they were in control the entire game, Penn State yet again managed to snatch defeat out of where do I start with this game? Let me just go with the play-by-play. I feel like that's the easiest way to. And by the way, let me say this: the top four remaining teams in the college football playoff, all four of them were top 10 defenses. And maybe that's the future, honestly, in college football. You look at all these offensive juggernaut teams, some of them either didn't even make the playoffs or got bounced early. So maybe it is just the best defense will win championships, yet again. So let's, with that out the way, the first three possessions were all punts here. Both teams' defense held through. No team was able to get really any explosive plays off. The game really started here with the first interception by Riley Leonard here in the first quarter. He overthrows his receiver. Penn State picks it off, and they now get the ball back off of a turnover, and they put together a very good drive, resulting in a field goal. They're not able to convert when they get deep into the red zone. Look at that. Second and goal at the two. Or sorry, I should say second and goal at the one, and they don't get a touchdown for that. I mean, that is a massive, massive mistake. And let's talk about this. The first Drew Aller interception, deep in the red zone, intercepted, terrible pass. He tried to throw a back shoulder. It was about 3 or 4 yards short, hit the Penn State defender in the chest, basically. But the interception gets overturned because of a holding penalty that took place literally at the line of scrimmage. So it had no effect really on the route or the interception. It was a terrible pass, terrible decision, but it gets overturned due to a holding call. They still managed to not score a touchdown on this possession. So after a great interception by the defense, a great drive that got all the way down to the Notre Dame 1 yard line, they fail to turn that into more than 3 points. Notre Dame gets the ball back and is forced to punt. Then Penn State goes down and scores a touchdown on a very good drive, maybe their best drive of the game right here, capped off with a Nicholas Singleton 5 yard touchdown run. He was the player of the game for sure. Him and Tyler Warren both played amazingly for Penn State. So now you're up 10-0. Should be up 14-0, with really the game close to out of reach here, close to halftime, because of how bad Notre Dame's offense was playing. But here's what took place. We're going to talk about the mistake of Penn State leaving points on the board. I don't know why you wouldn't go for it, by the way, fourth and goal at the 3 yard line. I mean, I am always a fan of going for it, unless it's like the end of the game and a field goal wins the game. If you're inside the 3 or 4 yard line, I am always a fan of going for it because even if you don't get it, the opposing offense is going to be pinned in such a bad position. You're more than likely going to get the ball back at midfield anyways if you don't get it. So it's always worth going for it, in my opinion, when you're that deep into the opponent's territory. Anyways, let's talk about this Notre Dame drive to end the half and put points on the board. Riley Leonard gets hurt early in this drive, not even at midfield. He gets hurt. The backup quarterback for Notre Dame comes in and leads a very good 2 minute drill to get deep in Penn State territory, and they end up scoring a field goal as time expires. Amazing drive by Notre Dame. The backup came in, made some massive plays, and instead of being 14-0 at halftime, it is 10-3. And in a 3 point loss, you can see how that's probably where Penn State lost this game. But they lost in some other ways too. Notre Dame then gets the ball. Riley Leonard comes back out. They lead a quick 4 minute touchdown drive here, capped off with a Riley Leonard 3 yard touchdown run. So they now have scored 10 points in about 5 minutes here. So they now have tied the game. And what does Penn State's offense do? Punt, punt. That is not a good way to start the second half. 3 and out, 4 and out. Then Notre Dame scores another touchdown to take the lead. 10 plays, 71 yards in 5 minutes. Again, quick drives here. Um, it was a Jeremiah Love touchdown run yet again. Well, not yet again. That was his first of the game, but it was a great run, by the way. Very physical, powerful run to give Notre Dame the lead 17-10. Penn State then answers in the fourth quarter. And this is where I feel like Drew Aller was playing some of his best football, but we'll get into what really took place here. So they drive down the length of the field. Tyler Warren makes some big plays. Khalil Dinkins right here. And then Nicholas Singleton yet again with a touchdown run to tie the game 17 all. And then Riley Leonard throws a second terrible interception right away. So we have a lengthy Penn State touchdown drive followed by an immediate interception by Notre Dame, resulting in yet another Penn State touchdown drive. That should have been the game right there. I mean, Penn State in the fourth quarter. Let's talk about this drive slightly, though. Drew Aller throws yet another terrible interception that gets overturned due to a questionable pass interference call. I mean, the guy literally had his hands up like this. I guess he was leaning into him a little bit. That was Drew Aller threw the shit into triple coverage. Triple coverage. That ball had a 0% chance of being caught. Drew Aller threw up a prayer. It got picked off, and they took the interception off the board again. Again. Nicholas Singleton scores his third touchdown of the game. Drew Aller has zero, by the way. He has two what should have been interceptions, zero touchdowns. Then Notre Dame gets the ball back and scores a touchdown here. Much needed, everything on the line. Riley Leonard makes some good plays. And then Jaden Greathouse, out of nowhere, Penn State secondary, who has been playing very well up to this point, makes a massive mistake. It was one-on-one on the right side. The boundary corner just literally fell. I don't know if he got hurt or something. He just fell right away. And then Jaden Greathouse is one-on-one with the safety. Safety stands no chance. He makes them miss an open field. Touchdown. Bomb. The biggest play of the game by a mile. They tie the game up now, late in the fourth quarter. Penn State is forced to punt. 3 and out. Is that what, their third of the half or something? 3 and out. They're forced to punt. But then Notre Dame is forced to punt after a lengthy drive that gets to midfield. Riley Leonard gets sacked. They're forced to punt with under a minute left now. Penn State, let me paint the picture for you. Penn State gets the ball with under a minute left. You have a chance to score a field goal and win the game. But what's the one thing you can't do in your own territory with a minute left? You cannot, under any circumstances, turn the ball over. You can take a sack and go to overtime. What does my buddy, friend of the channel, Drew Aller do? Second play of the drive, terrible interception. They didn't take this one back, buddy. 3 strikes and you're out, Drew Aller. They saved you on the first 2 picks. The third one, there weren't any flags. Drew Aller throws a terrible interception deep in his own territory, and all Notre Dame has to do is pick up 1 first down, line it up, and kick the game-winning field goal. Notre Dame wins. Penn State loses yet another big game. And here's the funny thing now. I've never been able to say this before. I can say it now. Penn State, with the easiest path in the 12-team playoff history, loses immediately once they play a good team. And let's just break down Penn State's season, if you will. The most overrated season I've ever seen in my life. They went life and death with Bowling Green, USC, Minnesota. They get just embarrassed at home by Ohio State after taking a 10-0 lead. Their offense is completely incompetent that game. They lose. They lose the Big Ten championship game to Oregon, even though their offense was supposedly playing really good. Drew Aller threw multiple picks in that game. They end up losing that game to Oregon. Then they play SMU, a team that had no business being in the playoff and played just completely terrible. Their offense didn't have to do a goddamn thing in that game. They beat SMU. They play Boise State, a Mountain West team who had no business being in the 12-team playoff. They beat Boise State. Then they play Notre Dame, 0-3 against the 3 best teams that they have played all season. Both quarterbacks made multiple mistakes. There were 5 interception-worthy throws this game. Riley Leonard had 2 of them. Drew Aller had 3 of them, but only 1 counted. Penn State ran the ball much better than Notre Dame. They both ran the ball technically 42 times. A couple of those were sacked, I guess, but Penn State ran it much more effectively. You cannot blame play calling in this game. You cannot do it. If you're a Penn State fan, you cannot blame the offensive coordinator. He had a great game plan. They ran the ball down Notre Dame's throat. Every time Drew Aller was asked to drop back and make a big pass, he threw a goddamn interception. Um, as far as Notre Dame's concerned, they actually had to rely on Riley Leonard a lot here. And as a result, he threw multiple picks. He is simply not a drop back passer. The more you ask him to throw the ball, the more likely he is he's going to turn the ball over. But hey, he had 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, and he came back from injury after halftime. Uh, Penn State, they don't have many receivers. As you can see, their top two pass catchers were running back and their tight end, who is a star. Their receivers are next to nothing. As you can see here, Harrison Wallace somehow had 0 catches, -3 receiving yards. This guy, by the way, was supposedly going to be Penn State's next great receiver. He peaked in literally week one. His best game of the season was week one. He has done nothing in the last several months. Jaden Greathouse obviously had the one big, massive play defensively. I thought both teams played well defensively. Notre Dame with turnover or takeaway after takeaway after takeaway, they were not able to stop the run game, but Penn State had like no pass game to speak of whatsoever, and they made the big play when they needed to. And then Penn State's defense, I mean, they forced multiple picks off Riley Leonard. They put themselves in a position to win this game. I mean, more than enough. I mean, Penn State's defense had 5 sacks, 2 interceptions, and I saw people blaming the Penn State secondary for this game because of one busted coverage to Jaden Greathouse. I mean, brother, maybe if Penn State would have scored a touchdown on their first drive that got to the 1 yard line, maybe if Penn State wouldn't have thrown an interception in their own territory with 30 seconds left, just a couple ways that Penn State's offense could have won this game, but they're still going to blame the defense for some reason. Yeah, I don't think any of these offenses are special. Um, I was high on Notre Dame towards the end of the season. I think I might have even had them ranked as the number 2 team in the country at one point. So I'm glad. Out of the remaining team, I definitely was rooting for Notre Dame to win this game. I do. I have real hate in my heart for Penn State. They just annoy me so much. But yeah, congratulations to Notre Dame for making the national championship game. It's a great story. A team who doesn't have the most talent on it. They have a really good defense. Benjamin Morrison unfortunately got hurt midway through the season, so he's not going to be able to play in the national championship game. But just a team that a real tough team with a lot of grit, a lot of heart. Who would have thought that they would have beat Georgia and Penn State back to back? So a lot to be proud of this season. Now let's talk about their partner in the national championship game. Man, what a game this was between Ohio State and Texas. He mentioned this during the game, but if you really break it down, this probably was the 2 best defenses in the country. In my opinion, Texas was, and I would say defense in college football this year. Ohio State was a close second, though. I mean, you can see on the Rob Eddy Awards show that I did for this season, I gave Texas the award, but both of these, at worst, are top 3 defenses in college football this year. And that's what it really came down to. I mean, Ohio State really shut Texas down in this game. Let's look on the very first drive was a turnover on downs. 4th and 3 at the Ohio State 36. Quinn Ewers incomplete pass. So Ohio State forces a turnover on downs, their very first possession. And then guess what? They come down with a 4-minute drive and score a touchdown right away. I thought it was going to be, honestly, reminiscent of Ohio State, Oregon after this. I mean, Quinshaw Junkins runs it in for a 9-yard touchdown on Texas. But I believe this was the possession right here. So Ohio State forces the punt, gets the ball back 7-0. And was there, let me see, was it here? Yep. Unsportsmanlike penalty on TreVeyon Henderson absolutely killed this drive. They were driving. They got from their own 8 deep into Texas territory. TreVeyon Henderson punches the guy out of nowhere, uncalled for. Stupid, idiotic penalty kills the drive for Ohio State. So should have been up 14-0. If you're an Ohio State fan, Quinshaw Junkins makes a terrible play that he'll make up for later. But yeah, kills this drive. You're forced to punt. Then Ohio State's defense gets another stop. So now Texas is 0-3 this game so far on drives. But Ohio State, yet another drive stalls out. Holding on the Ohio State offense. Penalties were the key for Ohio State this first drive, or this first half, I should say, killed this drive, and they are forced to punt yet again. Then Texas gets the ball back. They are now 0 for 4 because Ohio State's defense holds firm again, gets another stop. 4 straight stops for this Ohio State defense in the first half. But then 3 and out, they're forced to punt yet again. Yet another holding call. So we have 3 straight drives for Ohio State, which have been killed by either holding penalties or unsportsmanlike conducts. Now they are forced to punt yet again. And then it's crazy to even really, it didn't like register for me when I was watching this, just how great Ohio State's defense was playing. Texas Is that 0 for 5, 0 for 6 now in the first half? Ohio State's defense was playing absolutely shut down, and they were getting pressure on Quinn Ewers. But then 3 and out yet again. At this point in the game, both defense were playing absolutely lockdown defense. Neither offense was able to move the ball. Will Howard sacked. They were forced to punt yet again. And then 2 minute drill. Texas let the offense loose a little bit, and they score their first touchdown of the game. You see it. They went for it on fourth down at midfield. Arch Manning runs for 8 yards for a first down. Quinn Ewers, the big completion to Silas Bolden with about 30 seconds left. They take a timeout. And Quinn Ewers throws one of multiple halfback wheel routes to Jaden Blue. Ohio State could not guard the running back out of the backfield. So now, tied game with about 30 seconds left. Ohio State throws a screen to Travion Henderson that he takes all the way 75 yards to the house. The play took 16 seconds. Yeah, that was an amazing play. One of the biggest plays of the game. So now Ohio State goes up 14-7 into the half. Ohio State's defense is playing absolutely lockdown defense. They shut down Texas for the first 29 and a half minutes of this half. You got to be happy if you're Ohio State, but also you had multiple drives that got cut down due to penalties, especially the second drive due to the stupid Travion Henderson penalty, but he did make up for it with a very long touchdown. Then, start of the second half here. Will Howard throws an interception, bad interception to Texas, and it now looks like the momentum has shifted now. So, start of the second half, Texas punts. Maybe not. Then Ohio State punts, 3 and out, and then Texas gets the ball back and scores a quick touchdown to tie the game at 14-14. What was the eventual? Was it another Jaden Blue touchdown? Let me see here. Yep, it was. Another a rail route to Jaden Blue. Ohio State could not guard this guy in the backfield. Quinn Ewers throws another really good pass to him, 14-14. And then Ohio State, so now we have interception, punt, punt by Ohio State to start the second half. They force a 3 and out on their own right defensively. And then Ohio State comes down with the touchdown in the fourth quarter here to score and put themselves up 21-4 on an eventual. That was a touchdown scored here. Let me see. They went for it on 4th and 2, by the way. Will Howard, he broke away, should have had a touchdown run on a good quarterback run call, but the turf monster got him. He fell on his face. Will Howard and then Quinshon Judkins running in 1 yard out. 7 minutes left. They take a touchdown, and then Texas drives down the field, has the opportunity to tie the game. They get deep. I mean, look at these back-to-back plays. 34-yard pass to Gunnar Helm, 27-yard pass to Matthew Golden. They are absolutely driving. They get deep in the red zone, and then they get a great pass interference call in their favor to get 1st and goal at the 2. And then, let me see. They could not get it in. 7-yard loss. 3rd and goal at the 8, incomplete. So now, 1st and goal at the 1 turns into 4th and goal at the 8. Quinn Ewers gets sacked, fumbles. Jack Sawyer sacks Quinn Ewers, picks up the ball, and runs it. What is that? 83 yards for a touchdown. Game over. What an amazing play. Then Quinn Ewers throws an interception. Game over. What an amazing play. Goal line stand by Ohio State's amazing defense, who played great the entire game. They forced the stop, and they score a touchdown. Incredible. What a great game. It was truly entertaining to watch. I thought both quarterbacks played well, to be honest with you. They both had a bad interception. Quinn Ewers obviously had multiple turnovers, the one that lost him the game. I thought Will Howard, it was his worst game of the playoffs so far, but he still did more than enough. I mean, how many yards? He had 293 yards and a touchdown. I thought that was very good. Neither team, I thought Ohio State was able to run the ball better, but they didn't really rely on it heavily. Texas, their offensive line and their run game, non-existent. It wasn't there against Arizona State. It wasn't there in either of the Georgia games. And now it's not here against Ohio State. Is Texas soft? Their offensive line gave themselves problems in every single big game this year. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it's the play calling, but I don't think Steve Sarkisian really has it in him to be a physical running team. So yet again, it ends up costing Texas. 1st and goal at the 1. Remember that. 1st and goal at the 1. They couldn't score a touchdown. They're just soft, in my opinion. Moving on. The Ohio State receivers. Emeka Egbuka had a great game. Cardinal Tate played really well. Jeremiah Smith did nothing. Texas eliminated Jeremiah Smith from this game and lost. Incredible. Defensively, look at the amount of sacks for Ohio State. I mean, that's three, four. Was it 4 sacks? 4 sacks plus the takeaway by Jack Sawyer. Oh man, both great defenses. I thought the Texas defense played well. You hold Ohio State to 21 points offensively. You eliminate Jeremiah Smith. You got to credit the Texas defense here. It was really just the one massive play they gave up to Travion Henderson that lost them the game. But I mean, man, what a great game. Ohio State wins. And now we have Ohio State versus Notre Dame in the college couple years. They played once with who was that old quarterback? It was before Riley Leonard. It was before the Sam Hartman game where Ohio State won it at the buzzer. It was the year before that. I don't think I was a massive I forget who the Notre Dame's quarterback was. It was the guy that transferred. It was the current backup, I think, for Missouri. I forget his name, but I think you guys know who I'm talking about. It was an old, not good quarterback who transferred. I think they lost that game convincingly. Then they played a very good game 2 years ago in Notre Dame that came down to the wire. Notre Dame lost. So they're familiar with each other. They played each other a few times in the last 3 years. I do have Ohio State winning this game convincingly, though. They are massive favorites, as they should be, in my opinion. Here's the thing. Notre Dame has beat multiple good teams in a row. They've beat multiple good defenses. They scored 23 points in this game, most of which was not even from their offense. It was a kickoff return, so their offense did not play really good against Georgia at all. They played better against Penn State, but they turned it over multiple times. And the key connecting piece between both of these games was very slow starts from Notre Dame's offense. Here's the thing about this game. Notre Dame, Ohio State is the best defense they're going to play so far this season. The best defense in the country, one of, like, in my opinion. So I expect Notre Dame to get off to a slow start offensively again. I think they're going to be in a position. If you couldn't run the ball against Penn State, I don't think you're going to be able to run the ball against Ohio State. So I think they're going to be in a position where they get down early. Ohio State scores 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first half. I think Notre Dame's going to be down multiple touchdowns at halftime, and I think they're going to be in a position where they have to throw the ball in the second half. And if that's the case, I expect Riley Leonard to turn it over, and I think Ohio State wins this game by double digits, maybe even by 20 plus. So that is my prediction. And by the way, I had Ohio State winning the national championship game way back months. When I made that prediction video, I said Ohio State was my number one team in the country, and I had them winning the national championship game. I think that is what's going to end up happening here. I thought it was going to be impossible after the loss to Michigan, but they have clearly been a different team here in the playoffs. Their defense has been impeccable, outstanding, and I expect their defense to shine through and help them win the national championship game. That is going to be it for this video, man. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. How terrible is Penn State? Let me know in the comments, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.